je mets le casque. Je me mets un petit peu de volume parce que sinon, sans surprise, j'entends rien. Puis on va repartir dans l'espace. Hop. Je prends mes bras. Et alors j'ai envie de... J'ai quand même envie de voir ce que ça donne, hein, même s'il me dit que je peux pas. Toujours ces petits chargements un poil longs, mais c'est pas grave. On attend, on est patient. C'est le premier chargement qui coûte.
I'm entering what appears to be an excavation site.
You are correct. It's the only remaining route to the biomass containment area. We should be able to find our sample there.
Acknowledged.
Is this containment area where the outbreak started?
Most likely. I'll continue parsing logs to see if I can determine what happened.
I'm sure that's not necessary.
Do it. I need to know.
Of course, Doctor.
Je sais même plus par où je veux aller. Hey, on avait sauvé là, ça y est, je me souviens.
Were these excavators being used to expand the containment area?
I can't be certain, but given the advancements made in insulation cloaking technology, I imagine they would have been trying to ramp up testing or possibly even production. Undoubtedly, that would have required taking in more samples than the facility was currently equipped to contain.
Could that be what caused the accident?
Possibly, if the research team was indeed rushing.
Alors, une seconde, hein. Ok.
To complete work on the cloaking tech, then it is possible certain containment systems were overtaxed.
I should have been here.
Ah non, il
Then
aime pas.
you'd be dead too.
Ok. J'ai des problèmes de... Faut que je me rachète un routeur. Voilà ce qu'il faut que je fasse. Mon routeur, il n'arrive pas... C'est un vieux truc. Il n'arrive pas à tenir la charge. Attendez, une seconde, hein. Ok, c'est bon.
And so would we, probably.
I would still be here. For a while, at least.
Oh oh.
I'm detecting a tick up ahead.
Would my cloak emitter be effective?
I believe so. And the device's range should allow you to cloak the tick before it detects you.
Ah bon? On est sûr de ça?
Cloaking successful.
All this advanced tech, and the biomass still broke containment.
Yes. This is
Eh, mais dégage!
eliminating the biomass is our only option.
Normalement, on peut le... Ah non! Ok. De toute façon, je... Oui, ok, ça va, je vois.
I assume these barriers were set up while construction was taking place.
Correct. Data files show a series of tunnels extending beyond the barriers.
The scale of these excavations seems to far exceed our mining efforts back on the Kronos 2.
Absolutely. Though, this excavation was done to leverage the asteroid's
Ah
bulk
bon?
as a protective layer against the biomass. Any valuable mineral
Ça marche
extractions
pas.
were merely a byproduct.
Does most of humanity have to live like this? Underground, so to speak.
For several
Wait.
generations now.
I'm sorry. We'll find a cure. We have to.
Ok, ça c'est pas une bonne nouvelle. Pourquoi ce truc-là ne marche pas? Ok, bon bah j'ai fait le retour pour rien. Ok. Hop. Ya. Ah ben là il marche.
Juno, these excavators are automated?
Correct. They would have deactivated automatically as part of the lockdown.
Makes sense. Best to turn off every power source possible.
I'm approaching the large opening. There is a conveyance system installed overhead.
That is how newly arriving containment units were transferred into main storage. Local telemetry indicates a significant biomass presence throughout the area. Containment certainly failed here.
Acknowledged. I will proceed with caution.
There is a wealth of data here. Much of it will be useful for our work on developing a cure. Good find.
Ah, des tics partout. On n'aime pas les tics. Alors, on a le choix d'aller à gauche ou à droite. De toute façon, c'est le bordel à gauche, c'est le bordel à droite.
This container must have lost power at some point. Unfortunately, it appears its contents have escaped. How certain are we that a functional container is still here?
Based on the logs, one stock container arrived shortly before the lockdown.
Hopefully, it remains intact.
Ok. À mon avis, on doit aller par là. Hein. On va éviter la titique. Ah, mais il y en a partout. Ça va, ça passe.
If you can't cloak the sensors, cloak the power source.
Nicely done, Jack.
That was unexpected. I'll need just a moment to further analyze the reconstructed targeting software. Ah, I see it now. The cloak emitter should be able to target power sources as well, as long as they're sufficiently compact.
Copy that. Proceeding through the web now. Is this the cargo bay?
Yes, and our containment unit is indeed intact.
I'm still prepping the intake system. Should be ready by the time the container gets here, though. I'm assuming we have what we need.
Readings show a full complement of ticks within. So, yes, Captain, we have what we need.
Is the unit safe to approach?
Yes, the container is fully powered and the insulation fields are active. Those ticks are pacified. I'll send a cargo drone to retrieve it as soon as the bay door is opened.
On it.
Ok, donc je dois ouvrir cette chose.
Does this crane meet the size requirements for the cloak emitter?
Unlikely. However, I suspect it is more useful without insulation anyway.
Ok, je vois l'astuce. Il faut mettre ça là. Hop. Parfait. On va aller doucement, voilà. Parfait. Je suis un pro. Maintenant, il me faut passer là. Je vois pas trop où est le... Où est la tic qui contrôle ce truc? Ah ok, c'est simplement ça. Ok, d'accord.
Jack, the cargo drone is ready. Please locate a control console to open the door.
Alors, est-ce qu'il y a un point d'entrée à ce truc? Nope. Donc je pense qu'on va devoir aller par là. Stop. Stop. Voilà.
Exterior bay door opened.
Copy that. We'll send over a cargo drone to retrieve the container. Shouldn't take too long.
Jack, we'll just need you to manually release the container once the drone has secured it.
Acknowledged. I'll head to the cargo bay.
Je crois que je vais aller directement par là. Hein. Des unités éco partout.
Careful, Jack. There's another form of the biomass nearby. You may have seen them before. Elongated structures with an affinity for spore dispersion.
Indeed, cysts. Their rapid regrowth, even after bursting, makes them particularly dangerous. This specimen appears somewhat different than the others I've previously encountered. It has tentacles.
Yes, I believe that particular adaptation manifested somewhat recently. The biomass has been evolving continuously since your time. Regardless, you'll want to keep your distance, if possible. This is the administration area. Once past the next hallway, Jack, you'll be back in the cargo bay.
Ok. Il y a un truc de batterie. Est-ce que... Il y avait une batterie vide hein, dans le...
These controls are offline. Can this door be bypassed?
I'm afraid not. However, as a precaution, this area runs on a localized power grid. If you can find a way to restore that grid, the door should become operable.
Ok.
In this corridor, a further casualty of the biomass. 2, in fact.
Dr. Stephen Garrick and Senior Technician Avery Park.
Seems they were left behind in the evacuation.
I doubt that. If they're here, it's probably because they chose to stay.
What do you mean?
I knew these people. Every researcher here understood what an outbreak would mean, that they would have to do whatever was necessary to try and protect the rest of the station.
Bon, ok. Je dois... éjecter... Ok, je vois ce que je dois faire. Je dois éjecter ce truc qui est vide, j'imagine. Voilà. On recharge la batterie.
This web must be sensing the battery's power field.
Indeed, any substantial power field will awaken all forms of biomass from dormancy.
Ah, je suis mort. Hein. Comme une mouche dans une toile. C'est littéralement. Voilà. Bah quoi? Ah merde, elle est vide. Mais non. Sur ce bras-là, je veux ça. Sur ce bras-là, je veux ça. Ok.
The web there won't retract with the power field nearby, Jack. The cloaking technology might come in handy here.
Nicely done. Starting to get a feel for that cloak emitter, are we, Jack?
It is quite effective.
That is indisputable at this point. And it has brought us that much closer to a cure. For that alone, we should be grateful.
I've nearly made it back to the cargo bay.
Good to hear, Jack. The drone should be there shortly.
Jack, the cargo drone will be unable to retrieve the container until it's released from the loading pallet. There should be a release mechanism near the container.
A way to release the container?
That is correct. That access panel may be used to free the container from the pallet below.
Container released.
Confirmed. Container primed for departure.
It will need to be hooked up once it gets here, Jack. You had to give it the final touch.
I believe I would, yes. I doubt the procedure will take long.
Okay then. See you in a few.
Container departing in T minus 10 seconds. Jack, if you're planning on accompanying the container, now would be a good time to take hold. Cargo drone is departing in 3, 2, 1. Igniting thrusters.
Ok. On n'avait pas dit qu'on faisait... Oui, c'est ça, on voulait faire un...
Jack, I hope you don't mind. I've switched us to another comms channel for a moment. I have a somewhat personal question to ask you. Do you mind?
Go ahead, Juno.
Captain Rhodes, she considers you a friend, yes?
Yes, that is correct.
How do you know?
In the time I have known Captain Rhodes, she has consistently demonstrated behaviors that suggest she values my company, trusts my insights, and harbors a great concern for my overall well-being.
I see.
Why do you ask?
I'm trying to discern if Dr. Harlan considers me a friend. Biometrics indicate he is still experiencing some distress, but I'm unsure if it would be appropriate for me to console him. What is your assessment?
Based on my observations, I believe Dr. Harlan considers you a friend. He will appreciate your efforts, even if he does not outwardly display it.
Thank you, Jack. I agree with your assessment. I will do what I can to help the doctor feel better. Wait, did we just become friends?
C'est pas malin, qu'est-ce qui est pas malin?
I suppose we did.
Splendid. I'll return comms to the public channel now.
Et bonsoir. Qu'est-ce qui est pas malin? J'étais très malin. Ce qu'on veut faire, c'est explorer la zone qu'on avait découverte la dernière fois, mais on pouvait pas avancer. Je sais plus si c'était par là ou si j'étais rentré par là. Je crois qu'on va aller voir par là.
appears optimizations were being tested on this cargo drone's maneuvering thrusters. Assuming other drones were testing similar optimizations, scanning their data ports should allow me to reverse engineer the concept and apply it to all maneuvering thrusters, making them more energy efficient.
Copy that. I'll see what I can do.
Excellent. I'll add a tracker to your data tab.
T'as mort. Ah pardon, j'avais pas vu.
And ready to be secured.
Oui, bah c'est pas malin. Je sais pas, trop tard quand j'ai vu. Alors. Pardon. Normalement, il y a un nodule qu'on est... Huh. Il y a un truc qui doit être...
I took the liberty of hooking up the biomass container. I swear those things are looking at me. Anyway, system check, Juno. How did we do?
Systems nominal. Both the fuel cell and biomass container are secure and fully engaged with the ship's intake systems.
Well, Jack, looks like things are wrapped up here. No need for you to rush back, though. I'm not exactly eager to send you hurtling through time again.
Of course.
Also, Dr. Harlan could always use more data for his research, if you'd like to continue exploring the station.
Copy that, Juno.
Alors, il faut pas toucher, mais j'ai envie de voir... Est-ce que tu vois... Quoi? Oui, je sais. Est-ce que tu vois quel est... le... Oula. Le nodule qui activerait ce... Est-ce que je le vois pas? Normalement, il est plus orangé que les autres. Hein. Là, on est d'accord que il n'y a rien de spécial. Ah, mais il faut peut-être passer par là. Non, non, c'était pas... Non, c'est ça. On voulait réduire le courant. Oui, c'est ça. On voulait réduire le courant. Ou alors on n'est pas censé y venir maintenant, mais... C'est pas celle-là, hein. Je la vois pas. Ah, elle est de l'autre côté, elle est inatteignable. Merde. Il doit y avoir une astuce. À mon avis, on doit débloquer un truc plus tard. Waouh, ça fait toujours son petit effet. Hein. Ça, on sait pas... Oh, c'est là. Il y a une planète là. Bon, nous, ce qu'on voulait faire, et qui était sûr qu'on puisse faire... Je regarde si je vois pas d'autres. C'est quoi ce truc? Attends. Parce que autant là, je vois bien où on va. Autant là, je sais pas. Là, on n'a pas été. Quasiment sûr de ça. Waouh.
Good find, Jack. There's a significant quantity of data here, and I believe much of it can be used in our effort to develop a cure.
Ah si, on avait fait le tour. Ok. Ok, donc moi, ce que... Ah putain, ce vaisseau qui est... J'ai rajouté les volumétriques depuis la dernière fois, c'est plus joli. Hein. Ok. On va aller là-bas. Activer les... On avait dit, hein, on n'allait pas les faire à l'aller, on allait les faire au retour. Donc celle-là, elle est activée, donc c'est celle-là. Et celle-là. Et là, il y a encore un truc. Ouais, les 3 là, on peut les activer. Oh! Le jeu charge. Ça m'a surpris. Ok. C'est pour ça que le rocher était moche.
Dock online. The archives in this unit have been added to the dataset as well.
Ok. Ce truc-là, c'est quoi? Et il y a tout un complexe. Ouh là là, il y a des trucs ici.
Juno, this appears to be some sort of communication antenna.
A signal relay, to be exact. It's a key part of Chiron Station's intranet, as well as the external comms array. There are many more of them located throughout the station. If we reactivate them, we should be able to recover any data they might have stored.
And what is it you hope to find, Juno?
It's likely that a large amount of research data is stored in their buffers. Data that should prove useful in developing a cure for the biomass.
Well, cheers to that.
How shall I proceed?
Well, there are several clusters of relays throughout the station. One cluster per major facility. The issue is that the relays within each cluster are no longer linked. Thus, manual relinking is required.
How is that achieved?
Linking sequence timed out.
What? What?
Juno, confirm operational procedures for the signal relays.
Once you pull an activation switch, the link timer will reset, giving you 25 seconds to find and pull another one. If you can do so in a timely manner, all the signal relays in a given cluster will successfully re-establish their network and remain active.
Ok, il y en a un autre à 89 mètres. Ok.
Signal relay activated. Jack, you're running out of time.
Oui, oui.
5, 4, 3,
Non!
2, 1.
Il est où? Oh, c'est trop dur.
10 seconds remaining to complete linking sequence.
Fuck you. Ok, on va faire ça plus tard. Ça me saoule.
3, 2,
Je suis trop nul.
1. Linking sequence timed out.
On va réactiver les balises dans un premier temps. On réessaye. Ah.
Jack, I believe we have everything we need to send you to the past. Please return to the ship when you're ready.
Oui, 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 on va retourner dans le passé. Une seconde. Le passé peut attendre. Ah merde, je peux pas rentrer là. Ok. Là, il y a une...
This cargo drone is surprisingly far from the station proper. Juno, what exactly was going on out here?
Parsing local records now. It appears that the nearby cave was found to hold a small biomass infestation. Because of the location's relative isolation from the rest of the worksite, they were using it to run trials on containment systems, and even to harvest samples for testing.
On va réessayer l'antenne.
Process resulted in the loss of many
Je crois qu'en fait, tous ces trucs que
Is it possible any of those
qui sont
shells
ici, je
could
peux pas
make?
les faire. Je n'ai pas
They
le
may
matos
possess
encore.
useful data.
That is an excellent point. Let us hope your shell fares slightly better than those other units.
Ok. Alors. 94 mètres. C'est celle-là, hein, la plus proche.
Signal relay activated. Jack, you're running out of time. 5, 4,
Non.
2,
Non mais c'est pas possible.
1. Linking sequence timed.
Ok, c'est pas fait pour maintenant, c'est pas... J'y arrive pas. J'y arrive pas. Je suis trop nul. Ok, par contre j'aimerais bien que tu me vires tous ces objectifs. De la tête, parce que je vois plus rien. Et là-dedans on peut aller? Ah, là-dedans on a l'air de pouvoir aller. Ça c'est cool en fait par rapport au 1 que tu puisses beaucoup plus explorer que... qu'avant. Oh oh.
There's a fair bit of data here. It should prove useful in our efforts to develop a cure. Good find, Jack.
Ok. Bon, on va retourner à la base. Sauf que j'ai aucun sens de l'orientation, je sais plus par où elle est. On vient... Alors, le gros vaisseau éclaté, il est... Donc la base, elle est là. Ok. Là, on vient de là-bas. Ok. Ah! On a encore des trucs à scanner. Et des trucs à réactiver. Ok. On va faire ça, et puis on retourne à la base, et puis on va dans le passé.
Checking data store. Maneuvering thruster optimizations were being tested on this drone too. Excellent.
Et il y avait... Ouais. Maneuvering thruster. Donc ça veut dire, à mon avis, je vais avoir un upgrade du boost qui va me permettre de faire ces trucs d'antenne. Parce que sinon, je vois pas trop... Hop. Comment je vais y arriver?
Connectivity restored. This dock is now aiding in the development of your regenerative shield, Jack.
Ok. Research Facility, donc moi je dois aller là-bas. Signal Relay, on va pas faire ça maintenant, on va... C'est quoi ça? Ah oui, non, mais ça c'est un truc que je peux pas encore faire. On va réactiver ces deux-là. Il y en a d'autres? Un petit peu Subnautica sans le stress de... d'étouffer ou de mourir de faim. Déjà scanné? Non.
Archive recovered. Experimental optimizations present. I'll need more data though.
Copy that. This tramline appears to have been under construction.
Indeed. Records indicate that the adjoining facility was intended to be used for manufacturing. My best conjecture is they plan to mass-produce cloak emitters there. This dock is now part of the computational array.
Juno, are any of the station's X3 units still active?
Not exactly. My records indicate that all X3 neural matrices were transferred off Chiron Station during the evacuation.
Ah,
Well,
il est vraiment pété.
despite everything, it's nice that at least the androids made it out.
C'est loin. « 140 mètres.
Jack, preparations to send you back to the past are complete. Meet us back on the ship whenever you're ready.
Ouais, j'arrive. Oh, boing. Ok, petit loading. Non, je dois aller là. Oui, c'est ça, c'est tout à fait ça.
Hello, Jack. If you're looking for the captain, she's in the workshop with Dr. Harlan.
What is that? A motion detection system?
One of several independent sensors rigged to trigger detonation.
So, it won't release the spores until it detects something they can feed on?
Or someone.
Ugh, ghastly thing. Jack, there you are.
Good. He's finally here.
Dr. Harlan and I were just giving this torpedo the once-over while we waited.
Learn anything useful?
Yeah, it's a death trap.
Not that that's anything he has to worry about. Now then, are we ready to begin?
Affirmative. I'm ready. That is assuming all the details have been sorted out.
Yes, everything's in order.
On sent que ça va pas se passer bien. Hein.
Hold on, there's still some particulars that need ironing out here.
There are always going to be unknowns. That's just something we have to accept.
Let's assume this works. Let's assume we open another anomaly and send Jack's consciousness back to the past. What exactly is he supposed to do when he gets there?
Locate an undetonated biomass torpedo and sample the genetic material inside.
So you can use the data to create a cure. Right. I get that. I'm saying, how is he supposed to do it? It's not like he can physically bring the sample back with him. And if he's in a combat shell, it won't be fitted to do a medical scan. How will he collect the data?
He'll have to improvise, of course.
Apollo?
Greetings, Captain Rhodes. I have analyzed the situation and would like to propose a solution.
It's good to see you too.
We can exchange more formal pleasantries later if you like, Captain. For now, if you would please proceed to the holotable.
Apollo, is this one of your AI cores?
Affirmative. Once I became aware of the salvage attempts on the Estrella, I began disabling intruding equipment with a suite of electronic countermeasures. Apparently, this core was taken before my defenses were in place.
Well, now that you're here, will you disable whatever protocols it's using to prevent access?
Negative. It is still imperative that I minimize the distribution of the Estrella's classified technology. Of course, should this particular element prove relevant in stopping the biomass, I will lift the restriction at that time.
All right, Apollo, let's hear it. How does Jack get the data from the biomass incubator?
According to Jack's memory logs, the last anomaly caused his protocols to transfer into a Series 10 combat shell. This unit was equipped with a threat scanner, which could be reconfigured to gather data on biomass specimens. Once we've successfully located a biomass torpedo, I will repurpose his threat scanner to collect data from the incubator inside. The collected data should then easily transfer back with us.
Apollo, Are you certain you can travel through the anomaly with me?
A copy of my protocols has already been integrated into your architecture. I see no reason why we would not be transported together.
And how do we know you'll be transported to the right time and place?
If we create an anomaly precisely the same way as we did before, isn't it reasonable to assume we would get a similar result?
That would be my assessment as well, based on our previous experience. So long as we closely replicate the conditions that caused your previous jump through time, I expect the result to be nearly identical.
In other words, they should arrive at roughly the same time and place where your android first saw the torpedo.
And once they've got the data, how do we get them back?
Apollo, any theories?
According to the FTL's output logs,
Excuse me. You're reading our logs?
well, they are not encrypted. As I was saying, according to the logs, the moment the FTL drive was disengaged, Jack's consciousness returned automatically.
Check.
That's correct.
Check.
Dr. Harlan and I believe Jack's time in the past is directly correlated to the state of the FTL drive. In essence, Jack, the longer the drive here remains active, the more time you'll have in the past.
We'll keep it running for as long as we can. Give you as much time as possible.
The Astrea's fuel cell is exceedingly efficient and will most likely last long enough for us to locate an incubator and collect the relevant data.
Once we disengage the FTL, you should be returned to the present time.
Should? You're gonna have to do a bit better than should.
This is time travel we're talking about. All we have are best guesses.
Liv,
Pas
there's
trop le
far
choix,
too
hein.
much that we do not know about how these anomalies work, but your safety is my primary concern, and this is your best chance of survival.
This is the only way we get a cure. The only way we survive.
Eh, ça va, me pousse pas, eh oh.
Me. Everyone.
All right, Jack. You've clearly made up your mind already. I just wish we had a better plan than shoving you in an anomaly and hoping it all works out.
Juno, prep the engineering bay.
Right away, Doctor.
Jack,
It's all right, Liv. I've done this before.
once. By accident.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
I don't know if you're being naive or just really optimistic.
Optimistic.
Make sure you come back safely. All right?
Is that an order, Captain?
Well, technically we're both captains, remember? But yes, that is an order.
Acknowledged, Captain. I will do everything in my power to return safely.
Fais-moi un check. Check.
The engineering bay is
Hello.
prepped and ready.
Good.
Check.
Seal all the ship's bulkheads. We cannot risk any accidental contamination. Once we
Of course, Doctor. Jack, please enter the control room and the engineering bay below. This way.
Oui, pardon.
The control room is right through this door. Sealing the engineering bay now. Engineering bay sealed.
Dr. Harlan? Any inspiring words?
No.
We all believe in you, Jack. To varying degrees.
Your confidence is appreciated.
Can we get started?
Right away, Doctor. Jack, please adjust the dials to connect the fuel cell conduits to the drive core. First conduit connection complete. Both conduit connections are complete.
Good. We are ready to release the ticks into the engineering bay. Once you engage the FTL, they should begin feeding on it and create an anomaly, just like before.
Jack, are you ready for us to release the ticks?
Yes.
Ready to proceed, Juno.
Acknowledged.
Were the lights supposed to turn off like that?
Don't worry. We're just rerouting power so the ticks can only feed on the FTL drive. Stand by. Releasing tick specimens.
Well, I certainly seem to have their attention.
Once you engage the drive, they should be drawn to the FTL. All systems are primed. Awaiting ignition.
Do it. Engage the FTL. Now.
FTL drive engaged.
Ok.
Biomass FTL interaction confirmed. The ticks are affecting the drive stability.
Here goes. Stay safe, Jack.
C'est parti, on retourne dans le passé, c'est parti.
Detected.
Take care of him, Apollo.
I shall do my utmost, Captain.
Anomalous reading cycle.
Good luck.
Wow.
Cover in Delta Squad. Delta 6 requesting assistance. Is severely irradiated. Shell integrity currently below 60%. Secured shelter, Beckett of the Kronos 2. If you're receiving this transmission, please respond.
We have arrived. What is your status?
Core systems appear operational.
Good. We must keep in mind, this combat shell was not designed for biomass engagement. Any contact with the infestation will render us immediately inoperable.
Where should we begin searching?
Undetermined. I'll scan the area for identifiable landmarks.
I recognize this ship. It belongs to Delta Squad.
I would no longer qualify this as a ship.
Kronos 2 wreckage. Currently assessing biotorpedoes in the area.
There's that transmission again. I recognize this unit as Delta 6.
Interesting. It appears this Delta 6 has already located several torpedoes. Reaching their location may be our most expedient option.
Is it possible to make contact from here?
Negative. There's too much interference in the signal. We should first clear ourselves of this debris, then see if the signal strengthens. However, we should check your equipment before we go. I will do my best to keep this expedient. Let's begin with your shielding. This unit has been optimized for combat scenarios and is capable of regenerating its shield without the use of external chargers. However, a significant delay is required for the process to begin after sustaining damage. You may need to exercise patience.
Understood.
Next is your armament. This unit is equipped with an M19C repeater, designation Pulsar. Jack, are you comfortable wielding a firearm?
I'm accustomed to operating new tools. I'm certain learning to use this armament will be no different.
Very well. I shall construct a brief simulation so that you may familiarize yourself with the device. Your armament is now unlocked. Open fire on the targets. Targets eliminated. Unfortunately, should we encounter ticks, it is unlikely they will be quite so docile. These targets should provide a close approximation to tick activity. As such, successfully hitting a given target may require you to aim ahead of its movement. The ionized bolts of your armament are surprisingly slow. Though I suppose that is acceptable for weaponry of this century. Jack, fire continuously at this last target. Make no consideration for accuracy. Overheat detected. Notably, each firing of your weapon causes a portion of energy to be retained as excess heat. Without sufficient time to cool, this buildup will exceed maximum operating temperature, leading to an emergency venting cycle.
Can this be averted?
Yes, firing in controlled bursts is the most efficient way to do so. However, you may use the button on your wrist to manually vent any heat within the unit. But this choice should be made tactically. The weapon will remain inoperable while venting.
Understood.
Excellent. Lastly, we need to inspect your threat scanner.
It's what we'll use to scan the biomass's base genetic material, correct?
Indeed. However, until we locate a viable torpedo, we shall instead rely on its original functionality, identifying nearby hostiles. To that end, I have optimized the device's settings to our mission parameters. Once activated, it will emit a single sensor pulse, followed by a brief recharge cycle. Try doing so now.
Ah quoi? J'ai pas écouté. Quoi?
Activate your threat scanner. It is mounted opposite of your pulsar.
Hein? Qu'est-il? Qu'est-ce que je dois activer? Je comprends pas. Je comprends pas ce que je dois faire. Ça c'est ma lampe. C'est pas ça. Qu'est-ce que je dois faire? Je comprends pas. On the side of your pulsar. Oh, je suis débile ou quoi? Ah!
Hostile identified. A tick just beyond the bulkhead. It appears dormant for the time being.
Can it be avoided?
Given the surrounding topography, no. Though your strategy is sound. Armament from this era won't be particularly effective against any form of the biomass.
Very well. I am ready to engage. Can you unlock the harness?
Done. Now that you are free, I must advise. Operating your firearm will produce substantial recoil. I strongly encourage you to brace by maintaining a firm grip on nearby surfaces.
Acknowledged.
Threat neutralized. Well done, Jack.
Oh là là, le pauvre.
Warning. I am detecting extreme levels of radiation in the surrounding area.
A Series 10 Echo unit shell from Delta Squad.
As anticipated, the biomass has been difficult to combat. I suspect we will find more losses as we continue.
Attends, elles sont mortes. On essaye de retourner dans le temps pour les empêcher. Pour empêcher ces unités spécifiquement d'aller dans le futur.
Shielded view pane.
Ok, je vois comment ça va se passer.
Protection while allowing us to identify the source of radiation.
C'est à cause de nous que... Oh là là, c'est à cause de nous que le truc va atteindre la Terre. C'est sûr. Si on n'était pas en train de faire ce qu'on est en train de faire... Ah, on connaît les scénarios. Hein. quasiment sûr de ça. Ah, mais c'est fermé. Là, c'est ouvert. Ok. Ah. Oups. Ah, elle est dehors. Ok.
That power cell is temporarily distracting the tape. Though, a direct hit to the cell from your pulsar would likely cause it to detonate. That sudden dispersion of energy was quite effective. I advise adding that technique to your tactical database, or the civilian equivalent thereof.
My memory archive will suffice.
The debris field ahead offers far less protection from radiation. Extra precaution will be needed to stay out of the light. Furthermore, I am detecting a significant biomass presence. I strongly advise frequent use of your threat scanner to plan an optimal route.
Acknowledged.
Waouh, c'est beau, hein.
Warning to any receiving. Hostile equipment in the area designated biotorpedoes. Devices will seek vessels. Proximity detonation is triggerable even by personnel. Recommend vessels maintain minimum safe distance of 100 kilometers. Personnel should evac immediately.
It would appear Delta Squad has become
Ah merde.
familiar with the operation of the torpedoes. Perhaps that is what caused their vessel to crash.
Given that they began investigating the torpedoes in close proximity, that result is highly probable.
An energy pulse from the anomaly.
Is it still stable?
I believe so, at least relatively. Nonetheless, we should remain focused on finding a torpedo if we hope to do so before the anomaly collapses.
An activation pod.
Consumed for its energy. The corresponding member of Delta Squad must be unable to reboot. They should exercise extreme caution.
Another shell from Delta Squad.
Operational status report. Delta Squad operating at minimum capability. Activation pods are offline. Delta Actual and Delta 9. KIA. Delta 13. MIA. Delta 6. Active, but unable to perform reboot protocols. If you are receiving, forward to Titan CAN with authentication code.
Je te vois, tu sais.
Apollo, should we respond?
Negative. The interference is still too great. Nonetheless, I will continue monitoring the situation.
Ok. Ok.
Shields at 95%. protocols.
cool.
Magnitude minimum. I believe we still have ample time before our forcible return to the future. There is a faint distress signal emitting from a counter just ahead. Its frequency is similar to Delta 6's earlier transmission. We should investigate.
Elle est où?
Frequency similarities between the distress signal and Delta 6 cannot be a coincidence. We need to investigate.
Oui, on va investiguer. Oh oh. On va prendre cette gentille batterie. On va le relancer. On va espérer que... Merde, raté. Complètement raté. Bon. Ok.
Distress signal located.
It's a CubeSat, one of Delta Squad's recon units.
It appears to be in need of our support.
Delta Unit, I'm picking up your signal in proximity to Reconnaissance Satellite 3. Is that you, 13? Or was it Jack?
Jack, we have insufficient time for complications. We should keep our relation to this combat unit as simple as possible. I will conduct all communication with you privately, and I must insist we maintain the persona of Delta 13.
Very well, Apollo. Delta 6, this is Delta 13. I read you. ReconSat 3 was engaged by multiple hostiles. I moved to assist.
I see. 13. Your return is peculiar, but appreciated. It appears ReconSat 3 would not have survived its perimeter sweep without your aid. Though, what is your status? Is your pod operational?
Affirmative. All systems nominal. Rally at your position.
Acknowledged. ReconSat 3 will lead the way. Destination, Kronos 2 Bridge. I will require your assistance in assessing the bio-torpedoes.
Acknowledged. We are en route. 13 out.
Well done, Jack. Your replication of tactical speech was convincing.
My experiences with Liv have taught me many things. It would appear that improvisation is one of the most useful.
Agreed.
Another pod.
I will ensure that a similar tactical error is not made with our pod.
How?
I am an advanced tactical AI. Between situational analysis, predictive heuristics, and extensive experience, I am confident my results will exceed those of my ancestors.
ReconSat 3, I can see your signal light from here. Proceed with caution. There are hostiles. Interference from the anomaly. Delta 13, status. Are you experiencing malfunctions again?
Negative. No malfunctions detected.
Acknowledged. Proceed with caution. There are hostiles in the area.
Oj, shibi.
Threat resolved.
Yet another Delta. It seems the battle here did not go well.
Recon Sat 3 is detecting a nearby threat. Advise clearing the area before you proceed. Additional threats detected. I recommend enacting the sweep and clear protocol.
All clear. We should keep moving.
Waouh, c'est
Shields at 95%.
c'est tellement beau.
Shields at 50%.
From what I can discern, I believe...
Quoi?
That is my assessment as well. Delta 6 reported it as their location. We should proceed with meeting them there. Shields at 95%.
Ok, faut me dépêcher.
Shields at 50%.
On va attendre. Les shields doivent recharger, voilà. Waouh, mais c'est tellement beau! Ah, on y est.
Delta 6, you reactivated Chronos 2's sensors to obtain these readings.
Correct. As you know, the R&D priority protocol indicates we must collect detailed information firsthand. These readings are merely a foundation for your assessment.
Of course.
13. It appears you've arrived here intact. Well done.
We need to locate the torpedoes as soon as possible.
Thank you, Delta 6. We should continue our mission immediately.
Agreed. Primary objective, threat assessment of the hostile devices. Secondary objective, establish a warning beacon for passing vessels.
You are unable to reboot, correct? Perhaps I should take the primary objective.
Agreed. A further encounter with the bio-torpedoes would likely result in operational failure on my part. However, I can still provide some assistance. By leveraging the Chronos 2 systems, I have already performed a sensor sweep. In doing so, I have identified a large number of active torpedoes in a nearby clearing. The results are available here, on the holotable, if you wish to review them.
Can you push the objective to my ARM computer?
Affirmative. I've also included the clearing's coordinates as the associated location marker, should you need it.
Acknowledged.
You may proceed through here to reach the clearing. I will begin efforts toward our secondary objective shortly. Report back here once you have completed your assignment.
Copy that.
Interference from the Astray's radiation will continue beyond the arrival of the Ithaca. It is unlikely Delta 6's secondary objective will be accomplished.
We are fortunate to have their assistance, though. Locating torpedoes has saved us considerable time.
Agreed. The alignment of our objectives is fortunate indeed.
Apollo, if Delta Squad was not able to safely perform their assessment, how will we collect our data on the base genetic material?
Unlike the rest of Delta Squad, you have my assistance. I will bring the entirety of my electronic countermeasure suite to bear against the torpedoes. I am certain I will be able to disable their proximity detonators.
Fair enough. I suppose an advanced tactical AI is quite capable of tipping the scales.
Indeed. To that end, I shall now reconfigure your threat scanner for inspecting the torpedo incubators. Stand by. Reconfiguration complete. Your threat scanner should now be able to generate a detailed mapping of the biomass's base genetic material, though the range of the instrument has been somewhat diminished.
I suppose that's a trade-off we'll have to accept.
Indeed.
A biomass torpedo, already detonated. Is there any value in scanning it?
Negative. Dr. Harlan has already gleaned as much as possible from such specimens.
Oh merde.
Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%.
Apollo, what makes the base genetic material no longer viable once a torpedo detonates?
Dr. Harlan's findings indicated that a sort of catalyzing substance is introduced, causing the base genetic material to rapidly form into the spores characteristic of detonation.
Apollo, I've located a torpedo. Is this close enough to scan?
Unfortunately, no. We need to reach the forward end of the torpedo, where the base genetic material is housed.
You're certain that we're masked from the detection?
Yes, my countermeasures are holding. It should be safe to approach.
Apollo, is this range sufficient for a scan?
It should suffice. However, the torpedo's shielding is denser than anticipated. For a successful scan, it appears we'll need to expose the base genetic material. I believe that interfacing with the torpedo, I should be able to reveal the incubator at the forward end.
Do you need me to do anything?
Possibly. I cannot be certain until I have actually accessed the torpedo's systems. I advise maintaining full tactical readiness.
Understood.
I will begin once you designate the incubator for scanning.
Incubator located.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
Interfacing now. This is more complex than I had.
Apollo?
The torpedo's defense protocols have activated. It has locked the incubator and is attempting to power its main drive. It's beginning launch procedures. I will stall for as long as possible.
Then we need an alternative.
Agreed. I'm opening access hatches on the front end. The manual overrides within them should trigger a maintenance mode.
Override activated.
Perfect. Take care of the one on the opposite side as well.
Second override activated.
Well done, though the launch procedure is still online. Perhaps we can overheat the main drive. Enabling maintenance mode gave us access to the torpedo's cooling cells. Remove them. The cells are locked behind protective housing. Lower it. Remove the cells so we can overheat the torpedo, Jack. Jack, the launch procedure is nearing completion. Jack, it's launching. Get clear of the torpedo.
Bah super. Super Raymond.
Fortunately, I believe there are additional torpedoes in the vicinity. What we learned here will make us more prepared for a second attempt.
Super.
I've connected conduits from the Kronos activation bay to a mobile reactor. I believe I can repurpose some of the bay's components to act as a warning beacon. With sufficient power, it may be able to overcome the interference.
Acknowledged. I'm still proceeding with the threat assessment.
Copy that. Delta 6 out.
Apollo, is it possible Delta 6 could sufficiently power the beacon to warn the Ithaca?
Unlikely. All evidence from both the present and future indicates they will not. I see no reason to dissuade them, though. We should focus on our mission.
Agreed.
Shields at 95%.
Quoi, je dois descendre là-bas? Ça a l'air d'être une torpille, hein. Mais je vais cramer. Non?
Shields at 95%.
Another unusable torpedo. I hope they have not all detonated since I was last here.
The odds are actually in our favor. As the Estrella was attacked, I deployed countermeasures. I was able to nullify roughly 37% of the incoming salvos, all of which then traveled through the anomaly with the Estrella. Therefore,
Là-bas.
I anticipate approximately 272 undetonated torpedoes are scattered throughout the sector.
That is impressive.
Ah mais purée!
Given what I have learned since then, I believe I could now achieve a 72% defense rate in the same scenario.
Perhaps after we deal with an undetonated torpedo, you'll learn even more.
Indeed, I anticipate achieving a defense rate of 100%.
Là-bas, il y en a une. Je sais pas comment on va y aller, mais il y en a une.
Shields at 95%. Shields at 30%.
Ah! Comment on fait? Peut-être descendre par là? Ouais. Oui.
Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%.
On va longer le mur, hein.
I now have the beacon powered. Unfortunately, the range is being severely limited by radiation and interference from the anomaly. I will attempt to boost the signal, though success appears unlikely.
Copy that, Delta 6. 13 out.
Shields at 95%.
This incubator appears viable.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
I believe I may be able to stall the launch procedure for a greater duration, but expediency will remain critical.
Understood.
Initiating interface program. I'm in. My countermeasures are holding, but you'll need to trigger the maintenance mode immediately. Jack, the anomaly is pulsing regularly now. It must be close to collapsing.
One down.
Excellent. Now for the second one.
Maintenance mode activated.
Indeed. The cooling cells are now exposed. Remove them to trigger an overheat. The cells can't be removed without lowering their housing first.
Attends, mais où elles sont?
We need to remove all the cells to trigger an overheat. The launch sequence is nearly complete.
Cells removed.
Perfect. You will need to remove the second array on the opposite side as well. Launch procedure. Fall back.
Condition.
Mais... Ah!
Though we were unsuccessful, I have learned much more about the launch procedure. I should be able to stall it further on our next attempt.
On va pas y arriver, hein.
Incubator reached.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
I am uncertain how many torpedoes remain.
Then we have to make this one count.
Agreed. Beginning interface program. The anomaly is likely to collapse very soon.
I know, Apollo.
On to the opposite side now. Cooling cells are being exposed now. The cells can't be removed without lowering their housing.
Oui, je sais. Je vois pas où elles sont. Ah, là.
Cooling cell array clear.
On to the second one.
Cells clear.
The overheat process has initiated. Drive housing is opening. Destroy the main drive.
Main drive destroyed.
Launch sequence averted. That finally did it. I am able to unlock the incubator. We should do so quickly. It appears we may not have much time.
Incubator exposed.
Excellent. We should begin the scan immediately. Jack, we should scan that incubator.
Eh ben.
Scanning.
Apollo.
Imprinting now. It should not be much longer. Just a moment longer.
Apollo.
Data secured. Well done, Jack.
I suppose now we should simply wait for the anomaly's collapse.
I believe so, yes. It does appear to be fairly unstable at this point. I estimate no more than a few minutes remain.
I'm ready.
Perhaps there is a way we could signal the Doctor and Captain Rose that we are ready to return.
Were that viable, I would have expected them, or you, to have already suggested a means for doing so.
Certainly. However, I was attempting to prompt one of your creative solutions.
I see. The anomaly is going to close any moment now.
Preparing for return displacement. Jump imminent. Jack, are you here as well?
Oui.
Surprisingly, yes.
Surprising indeed. Our plan was developed under the requirement that the anomaly's collapse would return us to 2537. Had this outcome appeared likely, I would have developed a contingency.
Do we have an alternative means of returning?
Given the limited resources available to us here, No, not that I am aware of.
On peut attendre. C'est le futur, on va dans le futur.
13. Now that the anomaly has subsided, I have run an additional test of the beacon. Radiological interference is still too significant. Nonetheless, the beacon is prepared to transmit continuously once the radiation subsides. As such, I am now shifting my priority back to the primary objective. What is the status of your assessment?
Assessment complete.
Well done. Unfortunately, our lack of extended range communication leaves us unable to deliver your work to Titan Command. Therefore, we must enact the message in the auto protocol. Report back to me in the activation bay so that we may discuss the details.
Jack, assisting Delta 6 may be our best solution at this point. Both of Delta Squad's objectives are still viable, though unlikely. The radiation may subside in time for the beacon to warn the Ithaca.
And if it doesn't?
Then we follow protocol.
The message in a bottle protocol.
Yes, it is a standardized Atlas procedure. In short, Delta 6 intends to store our assessment in a secure device until it can be recovered.
That information would disrupt the events of this timeline.
That is the intention, to prepare humanity to defeat the biomass sooner.
But then what happens to Liv?
We have no way of knowing.
Aïe, aïe,
Our
aïe.
limited experiences are the only concrete information we have regarding time travel. Simply put, there are too many confounding factors to even make an assessment.
I see.
It is, however, possible that once events here stabilize, we will be able to obtain help in returning to the future. Therefore, I advise we wait until the Ithaca or other Atlas personnel arrive. We can then reevaluate.
Very well, then we wait. I will inform Delta.
13. I did not receive a response. Do you copy?
Copy, Delta 6. I'm en route.
Copy. 6 out.
On va foutre le sbeul. C'est à cause de nous que cette mission va réussir.
95%. Shields at 50%.
Merde. Bon, bah, c'est pas grave. Je en est en haut, c'est bien. En fait.
It would appear the activation bay, though now somewhat separated from the bridge, survived as well.
13. You've returned. Let me know when you are ready to commence.
Let's begin.
Very well. Your new shell is right over there, awaiting your transfer.
My new shell.
Correct. Protocol dictates we should place the assessment data in the most secure storage solution available, Tier 6 or higher. That Series 11 shell should do nicely.
That should make waiting for the Ithaca far simpler.
Understood, 6. I will transfer when ready.
Acknowledged. I will attempt further optimization of the beacon in the meantime.
I'll prepare the transfer. Initiate through your ARM computer when you're ready.
Transferring into this shell appears to be our best means of securing the data.
Transfer appears complete. Please confirm, 13.
Affirmative, Delta 6. Transfer complete.
Acknowledged. You are now integrated into the activation bay's power grid, which I have connected to a mobile reactor. It should provide ample power for both you and the beacon, especially once you've engaged your hibernation protocol.
I will do my best to keep you and the power supply safe.
Acknowledged. Delta 6, will you let me know if the anomaly reappears?
Peculiar. Very prudent. Very well. Initiate hibernation when ready.
I've set the protocol for timed disengagement so that we may awaken for the Ithaca's approximate arrival.
Excellent. It is unlikely anyone else will arrive in the meantime.
Indeed. Ready when you are, Jack.
Good
Et
luck.
ben, on va faire un gros dodo. On va faire un gros dodo. Un gros dodo de plusieurs centaines d'années. « 50 jours. » Ça va.
This is the SCI Ithaca automated nav transponder. Vessel entering Saturn orbit. Preparing for course correction burn. Destination, Earth. End of transmission.
Status?
Unfortunately, it appears the radiation has not yet subsided. Unless Delta 6 managed to improve the beacon, the Ithaca will not be warned.
Delta 6, this is Delta 13. What is your status? Delta 6, status.
I'm not picking them up on sensors either. However, there is a high-gain broadcast coming through. From the Ithaca. I'll patch it in.
This is the SCI Ithaca automated nav transponder. Correction burn initiating. 3, 2, 1.
The vessel is passing by on its way to Earth.
Oh, il est là-bas.
Then, as anticipated, the beacon has failed. Effectively, we are witnessing the origin of the biomass outbreak.
Correct. This does appear to be the final moment from which the ensuing series of events could be changed. A tipping point, if you will.
What should we do now?
Without Delta 6, delivering our data on the base genetic material is far less tenable.
How so?
Simply put, we are back to not knowing what happens next. An Atlas team could arrive within the hour, or within a year.
Or never?
Precisely. Delta 6 would have been able to assist such a team in finding us while we're in hibernation. But without that, we must err on the side of extreme caution.
How long can we remain in hibernation?
The main issue is the lifespan of that mobile reactor. At current operation, it should last roughly 50 years. If we were to minimize the beacon's output, we could last roughly 500 years.
Ah,
But then I doubt anyone would find us.
I agree. The odds of someone discovering us would be quite low. But what if someone knew to look? If they wouldn't give up on looking?
Captain Rhodes.
Exactly.
eh oui.
If we hibernate until 2537,
She will search for us once we fail to return. In fact, if we altered the beacon's message to one she would uniquely recognize,
and time its broadcast to resume when she would start searching,
then we should be easily found, with power to spare. Pausing beacon now. I'll set it to resume shortly after when we would have disappeared. Beacon set. The next time we awaken, it should be due to Captain Rhodes having received our message. Initiate hibernation when you're ready.
Dodo. 500 ans, c'est parti. Dodo 500 ans. « 410 ans.
Earth has been quarantined. Passage to and from is prohibited until further notice.
Ah bon? What? On nous a retrouvés? Mais non.
Jack, listen.
Message to all colonies. Do not, I repeat, do not attempt passage to Earth. Any and all traveling vessels, avert course to your nearest off-world settlement. All passage to and from Earth is prohibited until further notice.
It's a distress call from Earth.
And not the only one. I'm intercepting countless transmissions from ships disobeying orders, fleeing Earth.
The infection is spreading.
Indeed. The outbreak is already well underway. We should conserve energy, Jack. Reinitiate hibernation when you're ready.
Eh ben, les années passent vite, hein. Hein?
Apollo, what is happening?
We're passing through a debris cloud. It is mostly comprised of small particulates of rock and ice. But the sensors indicate a denser cluster on collision course.
How long before it reaches our position?
We have approximately 20 seconds before impact. However, the trajectory places the affected area outside our immediate position. We will experience some impact tremors, but this bay should provide adequate protection.
Oi, oi, oi.
Impact imminent. Collision alerted. 3, 2, 1.
Bon bah voilà, on peut retourner faire dodo, c'est bon. Pas
Tremors
grave.
subsiding. Minimal damage to the activation bay.
You were saying?
The impact appears to have destroyed the mobile reactor.
Ah non.
What are our options with limited power?
I now estimate we will fall short of reaching Dr. Harlan's time by nearly a century. Our only option now is to initiate a complete shutdown, to leave all remaining power for the beacon when it restarts in Harlan's time.
Is there no other way to provide sufficient power?
Negative. With the reactor destroyed, I believe this is our only option. But as long as the distress call reaches the Doctor and Captain, they can retrieve this shell and transfer your preserved memory core. Good luck, Jack.
Trop
Disable
le choix, hein.
non-essential subsystems. Goodbye.
Apollo.
Noita 3D, voilà, c'est ça. Eh ben, nous voilà bien, on va dormir un siècle. Bon, on a déjà dormi 4 siècles. 3 siècles. Ah. Ah, ma manette vibre. Réveil matin. Ah.
Initialize neural matrix transfer. Verify hardware connection. Okay. Mapping core protocols to target.
How much longer?
The transfer should go much faster now that we've finally isolated his core protocols.
Atlas Intelligence Systems. Artificial neural matrix version 11.312. Initialize boot sequence.
I think he's waking up. Jack?
Je suis vivant!
It worked. I did it.
Well, you certainly did something.
The scan data. Did you?
Yeah,
Check.
we got it.
Dr. Harlan is already in the lab developing a countermeasure.
Been up there for hours now. I think you gave him a lot to unpack. You did good, Jack. Come on out. We'll see how it's going.
Je le fais pas tout le temps. Hein. Whoa.
The anomaly. It collapsed.
Yes, we suspected as such.
I don't know what happened.
It was us. We fried the FTL. We wanted to give you as much time as we could. But we let it run too hot for too long.
It appears they've already started another test. We'll have to wait until they finish.
Right. When it happened, you know, when the FTL collapsed, I thought...
You thought we'd failed.
I thought I'd lost you. I was almost okay, you know? With being stuck.
Ça doit être un petit peu confus là l'histoire pour toi.
So long as it was you and me. But when I saw that...
Exo One, ah.
And you didn't come back. Just... Don't ever do that to me again.
I'll do my best.
Stand by. I'll unseal the door.
Narrow the operation wavelength 0.37 angstroms and run the neural again.
Affirmative. Stand by.
Similar to other equipment on the Argos, this medical bed appears to have been added as a retrofit.
Relatively recently, in fact. The previous medical bed was not equipped for the doctor's specific needs.
You mean to monitor his infection?
Indeed. Though, given that the standard configuration is only capable of diagnosis and analysis work, it has been modified to administer treatments as well.
Dr. Harlan?
Check.
You're here.
Check.
Surprisingly, yes.
Well, you've been nothing if not surprising.
Where are we on the cure?
I was right. The data your android retrieved from the past was precisely what we needed to complete the gene sequence. We're running one more test to be sure.
Oh putain, c'est trop cool les vues.
I think we may have a solution.
That was fast.
From where I'm sitting, it's about 4 centuries overdue.
I would think by now we can all agree time is a relative construct.
What's that?
New parameters are set. We're ready to run the next test.
Do it. Give me real-time status on the monitors.
C'est en train de crever? Non. Oui.
This is it.
treatment successful.
It worked.
It worked.
Just like that.
It's right there on the monitor. Zero metabolic activity.
On a sauvé l'univers.
Congratulations, Doctor.
We should refrain from celebrating just yet. We
Oh.
still need to determine how the treatment affects human subjects.
You really think there's that big of a risk?
It's possible. We can't know for certain until we conduct a proper test.
Lui.
Apollo's right. We need to run a human trial. Juno, prep the biobed. I'll feed you the parameters.
Affirmative, Doctor.
What do you think you're doing?
Taking my medicine.
What about Olivia?
Once we're certain the cure works and is safe, then we will administer it to the captain.
In what reality does it make any sense for you to go first?
This isn't a discussion. I have to be the one. Chasing
Écoute,
this cure
si ça rate,
has been my life's work.
tant pis pour lui.
And if something goes wrong, we're going to need your brain to fix it.
Captain Rhodes is right, Doctor. If you die, no one here would be able to carry on your work.
It's got to be me.
I agree. Liv is the more rational choice. However, under the circumstances, I find myself compelled to ignore rationality.
It's okay, Jack. This is the right call.
Juno, retract the emitter array.
Tell me how this is going to work?
We expose the biomass in your system to a low-level energy pulse of a very specific wavelength. Absorbing this energy will effectively terminate the biomass's metabolic processes, causing it to wither and die.
Think of it like a self-destruct command embedded in the biomass's base DNA.
Whoever designed it knew what they were creating and wanted a way to stop it if it ever got out of control.
Is this going to hurt?
If I said yes, would it change your mind?
Okay. Let's do it.
I want to take a moment to triple-check the math before we begin.
Whatever you have to do.
I'll let you know when we are ready. Juno?
Yes, of course.
Jack? Come here. Give me your hand. It's okay to be scared.
You forget. I'm incapable of being scared.
Could have fooled me. Jack, look at me. This is going to work. Oh God, now don't you start. Go on. It'll be all right.
Captain Rhodes? We're ready if you are.
I'm good. Let's go.
Confirmed. Initiating counterpulse emission now.
Oh,
Liv,
it's all right. I'm okay.
Vital signs are stable. Metabolic pathways in the infected cells are failing.
It's working.
Oh,
Cellular saturation in 10 seconds.
are you sure you're all right?
yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
That's it. Set it down.
Yes.
Liv, are you all right?
I'll say one thing. I'm never going to complain about those fabricators again. Well, what's the story? Did it work?
Go ahead. Tell her.
Doctor, are you sure you don't want to tell her yourself?
It should be you.
Before the day's out, if you don't mind.
Infection cleared. It worked.
Oh my God.
All traces of the biomass forms have been neutralized.
Apollo, is it acceptable to celebrate now?
It certainly appears so, yes.
Allez, docteur.
Harlan, thank you.
Yes. Well, good then. So long as we are just floating here, do you mind if we keep walking? Now that we know the counterpass works, we should start working on better ways to administer it.
Harlan?
We'll need both focused and wide dispersion methods.
Dr. Harlan.
Let's draw up some schematics and feed them to the fabricators.
I already have a number of ideas that I think could
Dr.
serve.
Harlan.
What?
The treatment, Harlan? You still have to undergo the procedure.
Right. Yes, of course.
Juno, can you prep the bed for another dispersion?
It's already done.
Very well.
Faut que je te tienne la main. Non, pas du genre à...
Would you like Jack to hold your hand as well?
Start the procedure.
Very well. Stand by.
Ils ont fait la blague.
Harlan, are you alright? Juno.
Vitals nominal. Blood pressure slightly elevated, but still within acceptable limits. Heart rate 103 and rising.
Harlan?
Keep going.
Blood pressure spiking.
10 seconds to cellular saturation.
Something through.
5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Ça a marché.
Vital stabilizing.
Well, I've had worse experiences. Though at the moment I can't really think of any.
Harlan.
What?
Captain Rhodes?
What is it? What's wrong?
It didn't work. The biomass survived the treatment.
Harlan.
Juno, get me out of here.
I'll reset the biobed. We can try again.
No.
Perhaps the metrics were somehow altered between the two tests.
Juno.
Or maybe some cases simply require more than one cycle before clearing.
Juno, stop.
Je comprends pas tout. Ah ouais, il y a 2 jeux à résumer là. Hein.
Both of us.
Apollo.
Tu veux que je te fasse un résumé très court?
Yes, Doctor.
On est un robot.
Biomass sample.
Je suis un robot. J'étais dans une base minière avec Liv, qui est elle.
That particular
Elle.
sample was extracted from the wreckage.
C'était le dernier jour, tout était tranquille, et paf, il y a une explosion, un gros vaisseau extraterrestre qui arrive, ça pète toute la base. J'essaye de la réparer, pendant ce temps-là, elle part vers le vaisseau parce que il n'y a plus de système de secours. Je pars à sa recherche dans le vaisseau alien, qui s'avère être en fait un vaisseau terrien du futur qui est contaminé par ce qu'ils appellent la biomasse, qui est une sorte de virus. Événement. On est projeté dans le futur avec le vaisseau pour survivre. Fin du 1, début du 2, on se réveille, on a été désactivé pendant quelques mois. On découvre que, en fait, dans le futur, toute la planète et toute la galaxie, enfin toute la Voie lactée, ils ont colonisé que la Voie lactée, a été contaminée par la biomasse, mais que, en mettant en contact la biomasse avec des systèmes de sauts hyperspatiaux, on voyage dans le temps. Ils savent pas pourquoi, mais c'est comme ça que le vaisseau est arrivé quand on était dans le passé, donc dans mon présent à l'origine. Du coup, ils ont un plan qui est de me ramener moi, parce qu'en fait, il n'y a que ma mémoire informatique qui est transférée pendant le voyage temporel, en arrière, dans le temps, pour récupérer des informations sur la biomasse à l'état le plus simple, afin que le docteur qui est là puisse faire un médicament. Je réussis, sauf que je ne retourne pas dans le futur cette fois-là, donc je me désactive pendant 500 ans. On me retrouve, on me réveille. Le docteur a terminé d'analyser ce que j'ai retrouvé, et ça a soigné Liv qui était contaminé, mais lui,
Something off the station.
Ça va aller.
I believe there is a sample from the research facility already seated in the cradle.
Rotate the sample into position.
Affirmative.
Alright, run the test again. Same parameters as before.
Understood. Ready to...
Voilà, c'est ça la biomasse.
Do it.
Là, elle meurt. Hein. Ah,
It's working. The sample is withering.
Wait.
non. Liv. Oh. Hein?
Treatment. Ineffective.
Yeah, you don't say.
Apollo, analysis.
Donc, ça vient du passé, c'est ce qui l'a contaminé, elle. Ça marche, ça, c'est la branche plus évoluée. C'est le delta V du futur, le Corona Delta du futur.
Correct. The treatment eliminates the biomass from the past. But any form from this time period, it will only paralyze. Though at the moment, I can only speculate as to why this might be the case.
It's because it evolved. The biomass in the Astrea is still developing, still vulnerable. But the strain from this time period has been running rampant for 4 centuries. Nora was right. There really is no stopping it.
We're too late.
Only by about 1 or 200 years.
So that's it. We failed.
No. We didn't fail.
Harlan?
Does he want us to follow him?
I have no idea. But I'm going to.
Ok.
Harlan?
Oh. Ne rentre pas dedans. Où est-ce qu'il va? Bon, lui, il a un petit peu vécu dans un futur où il n'y avait plus d'humains, où il est le dernier survivant de cette base. On va dire qu'il est un petit peu en PTSD, quoi.
We didn't fail. We just learned something new. We learned there's a window, a certain point in time wherein the biomass was still vulnerable, when it could be stopped.
Yeah, that point's long past.
You're right. If only we had some way to travel back in time.
Moi.
Transmitting Jack's protocols back in time won't help us here, Doctor.
It's also impossible without a working FTL.
For that plan to work, Jack would have to physically bring a counterpulse device back with him. Something he can't do digitally.
I'm not talking about digital time travel.
Oula, il veut vraiment m'envoyer physiquement dans le passé.
Where have I seen this before?
Apollo.
This is one of the Astrea's FTL drives. You and I encountered them briefly while retrieving a fuel cell from the ship's wreckage.
What do you think, Apollo? Could it work?
I'll need to run some models, but it's possible.
What the hell are you two on about?
I'll explain everything once Jack and I are on our way to the Astrea.
We'd best get moving.
Hold on! No one's going anywhere until one of you gives me something resembling an explanation.
Captain Rhodes.
No, if you want to send Jack back out to that plague-infested garbage scow, you have to at least give a reason.
And we will. But the longer we wait, the less chance we have to succeed. Captain, I know I've already asked far too much of you both, but I have taken this as far as it can go. I need your help to finish it.
What do you need us to do?
Jack, you and I will make our way back to the Astrea's drive bay. You'll need my assistance to unlock the FTL housing. Captain Rhodes, if you would remain here with Dr. Harlan, there's some specialized equipment you'll need to fabricate and assemble.
Oh, brilliant.
Opening airlock.
Ouais.
Jack. Good luck.
Mais oui.
Will you please be as clear?
Copy that.
Airlock cycling. Stand by.
Watch yourself over there, Jack. Don't let those ticks give you too much hassle.
Ah.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
Yeah, I know. I just like reminding you to be careful. So, be careful. And before you ask, yes. That's an order.
Ok, mais je pense que je vais arrêter là pour aujourd'hui parce que j'ai faim.
Exiting.
Ah, mais c'est tellement cool.
We need to make our way back to the Estrella, to the auxiliary drive bay.
All right, Apollo.
Voilà, et donc la structure du jeu, outre que c'est assez linéaire dans le scénario, c'est quand même un chouïa Metroid-esque dans le sens où tu peux aller là où tu veux, mais il te faut des accessoires
Remaining FTL drives, the
et des upgrades sur tes accessoires pour aller dans certaines sections.
return both you and Jack to the 22nd century.
You're saying we might be able to go home?
I'm reticent to make any assurances, but yes, I believe it is possible. Assuming at least one of the drives
je dois retourner
is
là-bas.
operational.
I thought you said we couldn't access the drives because of all the biomass.
That was before we had the counterpulse.
Well, that's great, but do you have some way for Jack to administer it?
Jack, make your way to the nearest fabricator. I have a new modification for your ship.
Understood.
Ouais, juste faire ça alors. Aller au fabricateur le plus proche. Il me semble qu'il y en a un là. Voilà, donc là il y a un fabricateur. Je vais recevoir un upgrade. On va aller trop vite. Et me revoilà.
Integration successful. Your new
Est-ce que j'ai le flingue du passé là, le flingue, je veux le flingue.
I expect you'll find it quite an effective tool for combating the biomass.
It's a weapon?
A focused counterpulse emitter. Based on design from my own timeline and calibrated to the same wavelength as the treatment we administered via the medical pod.
Je préférais l'autre flingue.
Nice.
Understand, this device will only eliminate the older, more primitive biomass. The more evolved forms from this time period will just be temporarily incapacitated.
Ça me va.
It should make short work of the biomass surrounding the Astraea's FTL drives. It's possible with more research data we could refine the treatment wavelength even further, making the device that much more efficient.
Ok, donc voilà, à chaque fois que je reçois un nouvel équipement, ils me disent « Ouais, si tu trouves des trucs à scanner... »
We're ready to proceed to the drive bay. In the meantime, Captain Rhodes, I
De toute façon, j'ai déjà trouvé plein d'endroits où je pouvais aller, mais où j'étais bloqué.
in our possession. I've already fed the necessary specifications to the fabricators.
Good. I'm in the mood for a bit of work.
Ok, mais je vais arrêter là pour aujourd'hui. Est-ce que j'ai faim? Tchouk. Continuera sans doute, si pas demain, ce week-end. Hein. Je sais pas si on est loin de la fin. Je pense pas, parce il y a encore plein de trucs qui sont bloqués. Ciao. Ah mais non, c'est sur mon autre PC que je dois couper les streams maintenant. Ah. Ciao.